Hello, welcome to Somerset News Network. Now, in the last video I talked about the right of free speech and the thought police of 1984. Over the last 10 or so years I've had experience of this, and it turns out that one guy that doesn't like me has been using his mates in the police force to harass me. I'll tell the story. 2010, the guy was thrown off a piece of farmland. He was shooting illegally. I told the story on Facebook, which was true and factual, and I get 2 police officers at my door with no numbers on. I thought that was odd. And they're threatening me with an arrest for harassment. So I just said, well, I told the story on Facebook and it was true and factual, and I didn't name the guy. So he had a folder, he got a copy of the Facebook quote I made. He looked at it, he read it, and walked straight out the door. Now, he'd been told that I'd had a go at the guy that doesn't like me by the guy who doesn't like me. When he found out that it was wrong, he couldn't do anything and walked. Now, I'm trying to figure out how the police are manipulated by one guy. I thought they were supposed to be even-handed and fair. Anyway, 2013 now. And there's a piece of woodland, and I know the landowner. And I'm chatting to the landowner, and I say, oh, have the guys got permission to shoot on the bottom of the woods? He said, Ian, you know nobody shoots there. It's a conservation area, and I don't allow anybody to shoot on my ground. And I know this because I asked him years ago if I could shoot it, and he said no. So I said, you got these guys shooting? He said, oh, here's my phone number. Let me know when they're there and I'll get rid of them. I said, all right. Anyway, lo and behold, one February afternoon, it's like the OK Corral. There's about half a dozen up there. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. So I rang Mr. Yates and I said, they're shooting in the bottom of your woods. He said, oh, I've just come out of hospital. I can't walk down there. Can you come and get rid of them for me? Reluctantly, I said, yeah, all right. So I took my video camera and I viewed it, walked down through the woods, found him, and asked him to leave in fluent Anglo-Saxon. Well, anyway, we got rid of him. Anyway, lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, the police asked for a copy of the video. So I did a copy for him and gave it to him. Then a constable phoned up and said, oh, could we interview you? Now, I'm thinking they want to interview me about the film, the video, and the guy illegally shooting with 6 of his mates. When the copper came, he said, oh, we can't define where the video was taken. I said, well, you can, because I told you. I know exactly where it was taken. And then he said, we're looking at arresting you for her conspiracy to harass. Now, what they're going to do is with somebody else. Well, I wasn't with anybody else. I was on my own. Anyway, this went on for a couple of months, and then the constable came with a sergeant, and I told the story again. That the landowner, Mr. Yates, had asked me to remove him, which I did. So I was working as an agent for the owner of the ground. Now the sergeant took the constable out into the garden and they had a chat. I don't know what was said, but the sergeant came back in and said, "Don't worry, Ian, I will sort this out." And that's the last I heard of it. Turns out that the constable was a mate of the guy that doesn't like me. And the guy that doesn't like me used to spend 3 hours a week in the constable's house. Why? I don't know. Perhaps he was painting the ceiling. Then we come to this year. Now it's been 10 years. Nothing has happened. I haven't had any dealings with him at all. But I run a local forum. We've got 10,000 members. We've got a village of 20,000 people. So I've got half the village on my forum. And it's lost cats, stolen bikes, restaurants, people who are doing service jobs, plumbers, carpenters. You know, it's a community-based forum. Anyway, we went through a load of trouble. And they were having a go at me. And I think they were trying to force me off of the forum. Now, I couldn't grasp what was going on. But my suspicion is that the guy that doesn't like me wanted to take it over. There was a post put on the forum. I made a factual comment underneath. And this lady put on there, "Oh, look what it's like, I'm going to the police." And then lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, I get the police at my door. "We want you to explain your side of the story." I was never cautioned, I was never arrested. So then I had to go in to the police station for a formal interview with a solicitor. All I had to do was apologise that I didn't mean to cause any offence. Well, it wasn't meant to cause any offence, it was just a comment. It wasn't a hate crime. Oh no, they're now calling it malicious communications, which is 2 years inside for a stupid Facebook comment. God, it's enough to make you swear, isn't it? Now later, it was all over. The cop said, "Oh, we can't do anything, it was anonymous." Well, if it was anonymous, why did they go all through this? I believe it's to intimidate me. Then the copper came down and said, "You know, you have apologised and they've accepted your apology." Well, I said, if it was anonymous, how could you have spoken to them for them to accept my apology? Didn't get an answer to that. Now, I believe the guy that doesn't like me is using his sock puppet on Facebook to report me to the police to create hassle for me. I then went into it. I think I found 6 sock puppets that he was using on my forum. There could have been more. I removed 2 of them, the ones that I could prove were sock puppets. The other 4 I was watching like a hawk. And then all of a sudden, they all disappeared. Don't know where they've gone. Then I found that my emails had been hacked. And he'd found out a company I was working with. And they threatened the company. He got a different name, or maybe one of his sock puppets, threatened the company I was working with. Company phoned me and said, "Oh, do you realise your emails are hacked?" The only way that he would have found out the company that I was working with. And what do the police do? Absolutely nothing. It's just like living in 1984. I've done nothing wrong. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've only had one speeding ticket in my life, and then I found out I could afford it because the camera was faulty. You know, it absolutely stinks. A law-abiding citizen just going on his merry way, trying to prevent crime. The guy's illegally shooting. And I've pointed it out twice. They're going to arrest me for it. Cool. This just ain't right. And we are living in a police state of 1984.